Annabeth Chase is one of the main characters in the Riordanverse. She appears in almost all the books and is one of the most well-known PGO characters. Despite this, a lot of fans tend to overlook some things about her, and in this video, I made a list of top 10 little-known facts about Annabeth Chase. I'll be going through a lot of books in the Riordanverse, so there will be spoilers after this. And with that, let's get into it. Number 10. Annabeth's name origin. Believe it or not, but Annabeth's name has a history of its own. In a talk with the author Read Riordan, Rick explained how he chose the name Annabeth. According to him, it's actually based on Atalanta, a heroine in Greek mythology who was known for having blonde hair and fierce eyes. In the myths, Atalanta was a hunter of Artemis and was known as a brave warrior. Her fighting skills and courageous nature is something Annabeth inherited, and Rick actually tweaked up Atalanta's name and got Annabeth from it. Aside from this context, we can break down Annabeth's name even further. The prefix Anna is a Hebrew name that means God has favored me, while the suffix Beth means my God is my oath. Added to this, Annabeth's last name Chase represents Atalanta's occupation of being a hunter, and interestingly enough, we learn in Titan's Curse that Annabeth was interested in joining the hunters. So I think this was kind of like a shout out to Annabeth's namesake. Number 9. Annabeth is based on Rick Riordan's wife, Becky Riordan. In the books, we know that Annabeth ends up with the main character Percy Jackson, and there's a bit of a reason for that. Rick based Annabeth's character on his wife Rebecca or Becky Riordan, and a lot of Annabeth's traits came from her, while Rick placed a lot of his and his son's qualities in Percy. So, technically speaking, Rick and Becky are kind of like the Percy and Annabeth in real life. Actually, in The Son of Neptune, or the book where Percy's memory is erased and the only thing he can remember is Annabeth, Rick wrote the dedication of that book to his wife. There, he said, "To Becky, who shares my sanctuary in New Rome. Even Hera could never make me forget you." It's a really sweet message, and it shows that Rick does partly relate Percy and Annabeth's romance to his experiences. Number 8. Annabeth shares the same birthday as Julius Caesar. In Roman history, Julius Caesar was a Roman general who was known for his great intelligence in battle strategy and incredible wit. He was born July 12 or 13 BCE, and coincidentally, Annabeth was born on July 12 as well. I don't know if it was just a coincidence that Rick made, but it's honestly very telling, because like Caesar, Annabeth is also a great war strategist. She inherited this from her mother Athena, and her intelligence and wit are just like Caesar's. Number 7. Annabeth oddly has a belly button. According to the Mark of Athena, the most annoying question that Annabeth gets is the idea that she doesn't have a belly button even if she does. This traces back to the myth of how Athena was born. So, long story short, Athena is the daughter of Zeus and the Titaness of wisdom named Metis. When Metis was pregnant, Zeus heard of a prophecy that told him that his children would one day overthrow him. Because of this, Zeus tricked Metis into transforming into a fly and he ate her whole. But remember, Metis was still pregnant with Athena, and she gave birth in Zeus's head when Zeus got a really bad headache. Athena appeared fully armored and ready to charge into battle on Zeus, and basically, she became known as a brain child. Moving forward from this, Athena's children would also be known as brain children because they aren't born normally like other demigods. Athena in both Greek and Roman stories is a virgin goddess, and for Annabeth to be a child of Athena, Rick tweaked it up a bit and made Athena's offsprings be thoughts she had for mortals she fell in love with. Athena would give these kids to humans as a gift, and Annabeth is obviously a part of that. So, with this context, the circumstances of Annabeth's birth is pretty complicated, and because she's called a brainchild, everyone in camp seemed to get the impression that she doesn't have a belly button because she technically didn't come from Athena's belly. But as we know in the Mark of Athena, Annabeth technically has one. Number 6. Annabeth was only 7 years old when she left home. In The Last Olympian, or the 5th book of PJO, we finally learn about Annabeth's past. We realize that she had a pretty bad relationship with her father Frederick Chase and her stepmother. Annabeth's life at home was so bad that she decided to run away. A lot of Riordanverse readers remember this story well, but some tend to forget that Annabeth was only 7 years old when she ran away. Like, I see a lot of people say that they feel bad for Luke and Thalia because they were forced to leave home at the age of 9 and 10 respectively, but they overlook the fact that Annabeth had to do that much younger. Like, I'm telling you, at 7 years old. That's a really young age to even think about something like this, and it's honestly a really sad fact. Number 5. Annabeth was offered to leave Camp Haplid multiple times. In the books, Annabeth has lived in Camp Haplid for almost all her life, but she was asked to leave the place a lot of times. It started in the Sea of Monsters, or the second book of PJO, when Percy and Annabeth landed on Cersei's island. Cersei actually asked Annabeth to stay on that island forever, but Annabeth obviously said no because Cersei had captured Percy and there was no way she was gonna agree to that. The second time happened when Annabeth received an invite from the Hunters of Artemis. We learned in Titan's Curse that Annabeth was pretty interested in it, but joining the Hunters would mean that Annabeth would swear off men or romance forever and would be immortal. Ultimately, she said no because she fell in love with Percy. The last moment that made Annabeth almost leave was when Luke asked her to join him with Kronos. Luke was Annabeth's childhood best friend, crush, and even a brother figure that Annabeth could have said yes and joined them, but she stood her ground and said no. All these moments show that Annabeth has her values and priorities that aren't easily shaken, even if all these offers seemed pretty good for her. Number 4. Annabeth might be a sorceress. Added to what I mentioned earlier about Cersei asking Annabeth to stay in the Sea of Monsters, this was because Cersei actually mentioned that Annabeth may have the potential to be a sorceress. This also traces back to how Minerva, or the Roman version of Athena, is actually recognized as the goddess of sorcery or magic in some cults. Number 3. Annabeth has encountered every god in every Riordanverse pantheon. Annabeth is a major character in the books, and she has branched out to other series as well. She appears in all the books of Magnus Chase, and even joins Carter and Sadie Kane in the Demigods and Magicians stories too. Through these adventures, Annabeth has encountered many gods, demigods, and monsters in her life. As a Greek demigod, Annabeth has met gods and supernatural beings from Greek mythology. In Camp Jupiter, she encountered beings from Roman mythology. Then, in the King Chronicles, there's Egyptian mythology. And lastly, for Magnus Chase, it's Norse mythology. Annabeth has been in every single Riordanverse pantheon compared to any character, and it helped shape her experiences and skills. Number 2. Annabeth originally had brown hair. For those of you who don't know, the story of Percy Jackson started as a bedtime story to Rick Riordan's son, Haley. Rick made Percy, Annabeth, and Grover for his son, and Annabeth used to have brown hair in those stories. However, he changed it when he started writing it, but the idea of Annabeth with brown hair is something almost unheard of in the book. We only get a slight reference to it in the Mark of Athena, where Annabeth thinks to herself that she wants brown hair instead of blonde. But aside from that, that's a pretty insane fact. And last but not the least, number 1. Annabeth's hidden talents. I think that as a fandom, we sort of associate Annabeth solely for her intelligence and combat skills. I mean, it does make sense because Annabeth is characterized with those interests, but those aren't the only things that she loves. Annabeth also has a lot of skills like weaving, as seen in the Mark of Athena when she defeated Arachne. Annabeth inherited her mother's skill in weaving, and aside from this, Annabeth also has a great skill at inventing things. She was the only one in the 7 aside from Leo who knew how to operate the Argo II, and that's saying something because the ship had complex machinery. Although Annabeth left Leo to take care of the more technical side of the ship, the fact that she was able to understand machines and inventions is also an overlooked fact. This was mentioned as well back in PJO when she understood Daedalus's laptop like an expert. From this, she was able to operate Rachel Dare's helicopter even if it was just her first time doing it. Other skills Annabeth has are memorization, as seen whenever she repeats prophecies line by line. She can also speak in Morse code, as seen in the Blood of Olympus when she talked to Leo Valdez to send a signal. She's also a pretty good cook because she's taking up a culinary elective in college, and as seen in the Wrath of the Triple Goddess book, Annabeth is also a pretty good actress, managing to fool a lot of people. This ties in well with how persuasive Annabeth can be in the books, as she outsmarts her enemies with words and wit instead of just brute force. All these skills help her be pretty powerful on her own, and overall, I think it deserves way more recognition. And that's my list of the top 10 little known facts about Annabeth Chase. She may be a major character in the books, but it's nice to remember some little details about her that not many people remember. It adds a bit more depth and connection to her as we continue with the Riordanverse, and it's nice to look back on these to understand Annabeth more as a character. So, how about you? Do you have any more facts about Annabeth? Let me know in the comments down below.